Okay, here we have part D of question number 1 from May-June 2017. And in this question, we are told that after 1 year, the value of Annie's car had reduced by 20%. At the end of the second year, the value of Annie's car had reduced by a further 15% of its value at the end of the first year. Calculate the overall percentage reduction after the 2 years. Now, this is a question which is kind of different from the way they normally ask. And those of you who just have been used to memorizing the formulae like compound interest formula or compound percentage formula or exponential increase or decrease formula without understanding what's going on will have difficulty with such a question, okay? Because they didn't tell us the value of Annie's car. They've just told that it's been reduced by 20%, and then the next year reduced by a further 15%. Okay, so you've got to think a little bit about this question. Now, first of all, if it's reduced by 20%, okay, that means it's now going to be 100 minus 20% of its original value. So it's 80% of its original value at the end of the first year. Okay, after 1 year, it's 80% of its original value. And the second year, it's going to be 100% minus 15%, which is 85%, okay, of its value after the first year. So this is 80% of the original value, this is 85% of the value at the end of the first year, okay, because it's like compounded, you can say. So normally what you would have, in a question that you would have, it reduces by 20% every year for 2 years. So you would say, okay, that's going to be 0.8 times 0.8. That's why you put 0.8 squared, okay? Because if you said 3 years, it reduces by 20% for 3 years, you say 0.8 times 0.8 times 0.8. You say 0.8 cubed. Or if you said for 10 years, you'd say 0.8 to the power of 10. That's because you're multiplying 0.8 by itself each time. But in this case, it reduces by 20% the first year, and then it reduces by another 15% or by 15% of what it was at the end of the first year, okay, for the second year. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to multiply. Now 80% is like 0.8 and 85% is like 0.85. Okay, so if you multiply those, that will tell you what percentage it is of its original value. Okay, what percentage it is of its original value. So you can take your calculator and you can just move it along a bit. You can do 0.8 multiplied by 0.85, which gives us 17 over 25, which is 0.68. Okay, so it's 0.68 of its original value. All right, so if that means it's 68% of its original value, that means it's reduced by 100 minus that. 100% minus 68%, which is, that's going to be 32%. So it's reduced 32 by, the overall percentage reduction over the 2 years is 32%. So what did we do first? We said, okay, if it reduces by 20%, and then it reduces by a further 15%, okay, that means it's 80% of its original value, and then it's 85% of that new value. So you're going to do 0.8 times 0.85. That will tell you what percentage it is of its original value. When you do 100 or 1 minus that, or 100% minus that as a percentage, you find how much it's gone down by, which is what they want. Okay, that's part 1. Now part 2 says after 3 years, the overall percentage reduction in the value of Annie's car is 40.84%. So calculate the percentage reduction in the third year. Okay, so we know that the first year it's 0.8, and the second year 0.85. That's at the end of the first year, it's 80% of its original value because it went down by 20%. And then at the end of the second year, it went down by a further 15%. So now it's 0.85%, or it's 85% of the value at the end of the first year. So you multiply by 0.85. For the third year, we don't know what it is. Okay, but we know that the overall percentage reduction is 40.84%. So it's going to be 1 minus, because this tells us what percentage of the value it is. Okay, so we've got to do 1 minus 40.84. So 1 minus 0.4084. Just changing that percentage into a decimal like these are decimals. Okay, so when I multiply this out, it should give me the value of x. So x is going to be, let's just work out what this is now. So you're going to have, let me put this in a place I can see what's going on. So you have 0.8 times 0.85. Well, first of all, I'll do 1 minus 0.4084. Okay? Alright, so that's like 59.16%. That's what it is of the original value. Okay? And if you divide that by 0.8 multiplied by 0.85, close the bracket, and that gives me 87%, basically 0.87. That gives me 0.87. So what did I do? I did 1 minus 0.4084, and I divided that by 0.8 times 0.85, and that gave me 0.87. Okay, 0.87. That's how much it is of the, that's basically how much it decreased in this third year. It's like times 0.87. This is what value it was of, okay, at the end of the third year, that's the reduction, okay, it's 87% of what it was at the end of the second year, okay? So basically, that's how much percentage it was at the end of the second year. So the percentage reduction in the third year is going to be 1 minus 0.87, and that's 3 plus 10, that's 13%. Okay, it's 0.13, which is 13%. So it's a 13%, okay, percentage reduction in the third year. So what did we do? Okay, this is a bit of a fiddly one. We said the first year it's 80% of its original value, so it's gone down by 20%. The second year, it's 15% reduction, so it's 85% of what it was at the end of the second year. For the third year, we don't know what that percentage reduction is. Okay, we have to call it X. Okay, and we know that the overall, okay, percentage reduction is 0.4084. So that means it's 1 minus that will tell us how much of the original amount it was, what fraction of the original amount it was. Okay, and then that's gonna. If I need to find what this x is. We don't know that at the moment. We need to know what x is. We just do x is 1 minus 0.4084 divided by 0.8 times 0.85, and that tells me that value of x. That's the percentage reduction in the third year. That's not the percentage reduction. That's the amount it is of its value at the end of the second year. Okay, that's how much it's of the original value. The value was at the second year. So that means the percentage reduction in that year is going to be 1 minus 0.87, okay, which is 13%. Okay, so I hope that was clear. That's a slightly different style of questioning, but it's very important for us to understand this. See, many people they would not know what to do here because they just memorize the formula for compound percentages, and they don't have this idea of what happens if it changes. If it's going down by 20% every year, okay, that's pretty simple. 0.8 to the power of how many years? Okay, but here it's going down by 1%, and then going down by another percentage, then another percentage. Okay, so you have to be aware of how to deal with these questions if something comes slightly different from what you're used to. And if you're just used to memorizing formulae, then you will have problems in this regard. So it's better for you to learn with understanding rather than just memorize like a parrot. Okay, so let's hope we all understood that, and I will see you again in another video. Thank you for listening.